The nature of the world is one that is not hospitable towards its inhabitants. In attempting to combat this reality, we have attempted to understand nature itself and use that information to combat it. The buildup of knowledge from generation to generation has resulted in a method to produce the knowledge needed for the task at hand. This method is called science, a word derived from the Latin word scientia, which means to know, and was first given a formal definition by a Greek philosopher named Aristotle in 500 BCE. A method of finding truth through logic, observation, inquiry, and demonstration, and has been refined through the contributions of tens of thousands of scholars to a few easy steps: questioning, prediction, gathering data, analyzing data, and drawing conclusions, the results of which informs hundreds of thousands of institutions in their decision-making process. Sounds great, right? Putting trained men and women, distinguished individuals some may say, dedicated to the pursuit of truth in positions to make major decisions seems like an intuitive thing to do. There's one problem though. Very few people engaged in this process are committed to such an ideal. Different people, institutions, and models of incentivization take part in making this form of finding truth more doubtable than you, the layman, may realize. Let me explain why science is not as scientific as you think. When it comes to publishing research, there are three main institutions that take part in the process. 1. Academia. 2. Businesses. And 3. Governments. Each of these institutions have a prime directive, a guiding principle for what tasks they engage in. Universities attempt to teach the next generations of scholars, leaders, and builders. Businesses are saddled with allocating the labor that has to be conducted to make the consumer of their products' lives more simple. And governments are saddled with balancing the powers of all institutions in a land in order to maintain peace and prosperity. When these institutions engage in scientific research, they are trying to find ways to fulfill these roles with less effort. The sad truth of the matter is that only a fraction of the activities being conducted underneath these institutions are suited towards these goals. Scientists working underneath academia oftentimes spend more time taking part in bureaucratic social games, pushing political activistic movements and narratives, or both. The world's smartest indeed. Scientists in the private sector are bogged down with the pressures of looking into methods of lining the pockets of its corporate owner class, a prospect that is totally stable and most definite, infinite. And scientists in government make questionable decisions. Let's say publication bias is rampant. Insignificant results are not sexy, cannot be used to push agendas forward, and are not valued as highly as groundbreaking research. So scientists often look for forms of knowledge that will gain the attentions of the masses, and occasionally just lie. This dilutes the body of evidence for any given phenomenon, and nudges scientists away from doing research that does not have conclusive findings, or research that happens to push a product, disprove something in a sensational manner, or increase the status of the individual scientists who are pushed to the forefront of any given issue or given the spotlight. Even the steps of the scientific method are not as straightforward as it might first appear. Scientific questions are prone to be asked in alignment with the goals of the institutions they are underneath. As such, it is questionable if we are focusing on the right information at any given time. Hypothesis formation is known to have issues related to confirmation bias. aka people looking for information to confirm their own bias. In gathering data, a lack of clear methodology and the probability for the collectors of such data to tamper with numbers by intentionally including undesirable results, including points that do not exist or are irrelevant to the process at hand, and misreports of the phenomenon. Analyzing data is rife with challenges such as scalability, how systems change with size, storage bottleneck, a lack of space for collected data, noise accumulation, data that is meaningless to the experiment, spurious correlations, two things being related but not causal, incidental ingenuity, variables within your model correlating with one another, and measurement error, mistakes. And the conclusion segment of the research process is validated through the soundness of all other steps. So why does this matter? Well, the difference between asking a good scientific question and a bad scientific question is like $1.6 million in taxpayer money for an increase in knowledge about disease strength running speed versus a theory on electromagnetism, which resulted in this and this and this and that and this and that. The effects of confirmation bias in a hypothesis can be demonstrated here. I have done it. I have made a material stronger than concrete, lighter than aluminum, and less reactive than gold, and at a fraction of the cost of wood. The ultimate material. Assistant! With this, we could revolutionize construction, make houses more affordable, and cement our names in the history books. Has a melting point of 40 degrees Celsius, aka 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Practically useless for commercial purposes. Alright, nice day. See you tomorrow, Phil. No, it's the ultimate material. Good news, everyone. We just got note of a new material we will be using to help support the bridge we are building. And just in the brink of time. A job well done. This same negative outcome exists in gathering data, but having bad data uniquely results in unreplicatable results, which is more common than you think, and also wastes everyone's time and resources. And mistakes in data analysis is honestly a good thing. If you want to spread these facts as a politician, pundit of some sort, or a TV personality, all of this is to say is that the scientific process is a process. The claims that we hear from figureheads is often a watered down telephone game version of an original claim. So let me end this with a classic. Do your own research, buy gold, and for the love of God, read some books.